Like a Beltimer. That's a big hole. Look at that.
Oh, thank
This
you for
is
being such a wonderful, positive influence in my life.
So my ex got a tattoo of me today, with bangs. So, what I have to say to that is I no longer have bangs, sir. So, that's not me that you got tattooed, okay?
breakups are one of the most vulnerable times for us. And there's a lot of reasons for this psychologically in terms of our ego, in terms of our attachments, in terms of our self-esteem being under attack, or we're doing that to somebody else. And, I don't know about you, but in my travels, I've had personal experiences that went south. And I've had friends where, their breakups even turned physical. And this is not uncommon, where a physical breakup situation or very violent, very verbal incident turns into a domestic violence incident or an intimate partner violence incident. And, there's 101 different ways that, a breakup and all these feelings and emotions can manifest into a behavior. And thankfully, the people of TikTok have offered us up some of these different situations we can look at and kind of take a back seat and look at and study in terms of what might be going on in terms of some of the psychological mechanisms, in terms of some of the sociology behind the scenes. So, my name is Dr. Jake, and I have a PhD focused on domestic violence and some of these dynamics. And I'm not sure why you're here, but I'm glad you're here, and I'm going to share with you 3 of these examples where we can look at them and take a little bit of a closer look. So let's get into it. Okay, so we got a woman with like a Beltimer. That's a big hole. Look at that. It's a big belt.
Not the Suzuki.
Not the Suzuki. I shouldn't laugh. That's illegal.
Oh shit.
That's okay. So we don't have any context to work off other than it's allegedly a crazy ex. So we don't know what he was doing or saying beforehand, obviously. And based off his kind of his tone and everything, I don't know if he wasn't taking it seriously, obviously. So who knows what was going on. So what we're doing in these situations as humans is we have everybody's different with the amount of distress that we can handle or tolerance we have for distress in our lives, whether it's relationship or personal or professional, whatever it might be. And she was clearly in a deficit of distress control. In other words, she was very, very distressed. So what she's probably doing here is it's called affective contagion, where we feel really bad and negative, sad, depressed, jealous, whatever, and we want other people to feel that way. So we do and say things to get people to also feel as bad as we are feeling, or similar emotion that we are feeling. And it's probable that he did something to instigate this. Not that what she did is appropriate in terms of escalating. I'm assuming he didn't damage her property. A lot of assumptions going into this, but she's trying to restore agency or autonomy in terms of he did something to harm her. She wants to get on an equal footing to him. So this externalization of our emotions onto other things, other people or vehicles, the Suzuki in this case, not an appropriate thing to do. Could potentially catch a criminal charge for this. I'm not a lawyer, this is no legal advice, or civil suit, at least I'm assuming it's the ex-boyfriend here for the Suzuki. So yeah, we don't have the full story here, obviously, but I'm hopeful that she, came on the other side of this okay, and that he did it as well. So, yeah, I feel bad on the Suzuki.
This is what you do when you find your boyfriend's exes of how many years? 4 paintings in the trunk of his car. This is what you do. Ready?
I got a letter. Just gonna burn them or something. This is pretty normal. Not normal. Not
with
uncommon.
The love note on it and everything. Fuck that. Shitty painting.
Yeah, watch her face right now. Watch for the affect.
What's this one say? Oh, thank you for being such a wonderful, positive influence in my life. You're welcome. You're welcome.
The boyfriend was watching, I think.
Now,
That's so funny.
we eat it in the garbage. Bye.
Okay. some people shouldn't be in a relationship at different points in their life because they have some growing to do. And this is one of those people. Um, we in relationships as humans like to think we own our partners and that all their previous relationships, we wish they didn't exist. But for a lot of us, they do. And the fact that some people want to keep artifacts from our previous relationships in terms of remembering them, maybe they passed away, maybe they had something happen where they were no longer able to be in a relationship too. And the fact that she goes and destroys those paintings that were clearly meaningful to him and that he was hiding them in the trunk shows I'm just okay. So this is not uncommon at all in terms of a domestic situation, which this is, getting, in terms of the emotional abuse, absolutely. But she's asserting her control over him and that she has coercive control over him, that she like owns him or possesses him now. And people do this. It can be from childhood and negative attachments they've formed, or poor attachments they've formed in their childhood. It also could be from low self-esteem as well. And there's a lot of things going on here in terms of her ego was attacked because he kept that. So our more narcissistic tendencies can come out. Not saying she is a narcissist. We all have a little bit of narcissistic tendencies. We also have this kind of intermittent explosive situation here, where she has this sort of like kind of stoic, kind of like hot, like kind of going through it face, and then all of a sudden she goes into this like break where she goes and destroys property. So when we destroy like symbolic artifacts from a previous relationship of our partners, all that says is that we have a lot of work to do on ourselves. And I think it was him in the background too who was just kind of witnessing this. And when we displace our anger and our perceived betrayal, I'm assuming she felt as well because she found these onto an object like that, all we're doing is trying to assert again that coercive control on our partner. So I'm shaking my head at this, obviously, and I'm really feeling for the guy here and her obvious disregard for his emotions, and then posting it on TikTok as a means to shame him. On top of that, I mean, she looks younger, so you know, tonsils stoner, tonsil stoner on her. Yeah. Shame on you. That was messed up.
So my ex got a tattoo of me today, with bangs. So, what I have to say to that is I no longer have bangs, sir. So, that's not me that you got tattooed. Okay? Don't know who that is, but it's not me. I now look like this, and I don't.
That's smart.
Want to hear about it.
Cuts the bangs off.
So the girl he dated is dead. I killed her. Yeah, this is what I look like now. No more bangs.
Oh,
fuck that.
Yeah. Oh, I almost thought it was. I thought she done killed somebody. That's good. She did not. So that's good. So we have here, when we have like, I'm sure most people have heard of people getting tattoos of their partner, and then they either break up and they have to get those tattoos removed or kind of change into something new. This is different because he got a tattoo of her after they broke up, and I'm assuming he sent a picture of it or texted her, got a tattoo of you. No, we broke up. That's like a last effort. What's the term? It's a last ditch effort to essentially gain control in a really desperate situation. So there's obviously some kind of stalking, or likely some sort of stalking behaviors going on here. I would consider getting a tattoo of somebody and sending it to them, saying you're still part of me, because I have a tattoo of you. Red flag, obviously. So in terms of her, though, intentional distancing by cutting her bangs, controlling what she can, 'cause she can't control his body and what he's going to do with it. Good on you. That's a interesting sort of reactance, a psychological reactance to this situation where, she's struggling obviously with, well, this kind of messed up that he got a tattoo of me, so I'm going to react in terms of empowering myself by cutting my bangs, which is unfortunate, obviously, maybe she loved her bangs. But like she's re-empowering, she's taking back that control over herself in terms of that. And it's probably a bit of a coping thing as well, in terms of like, I've never had a stalker. I've never had somebody like that, at least, where they're really trying to like maintain that control after the relationship, that post relationship control. And what she's doing here probably too in terms of getting the haircuts. You know, men and women do this, by the way, is after we have a breakup, we'll sort of do this reconstruction of our own identity and ourself to sort of, you know, kind of gain back that self-control because we're at a power deficit, especially if we've been broken up with. Also, if we break up with others, but we attempt to reconstruct ourselves, you know, you'll see guys, you know, they'll go to the gym, or women, they'll go to the gym, they'll get haircuts, you know, those sort of things in terms of taking back the onus or the power of control of our own lives and destiny and purpose after a breakup. So messed up though that she has to do that in terms of like the cringe factor, creep factor for him getting a tattoo of her after the fact. Yeah, no, gross. Yeah. And that is all, folks. Thank you for watching. I'm curious which of those 3 clips kind of stood out to you the most. Let me know in the comments. I'm curious kind of where people are at with these different types of clips. I'm really interested in that last one, like how we as humans will try to attempt to still be a character in somebody's story, even though they put that boundary up of a breakup. Or on the receiving end of that, what do you do if somebody's really trying to kind of keep part of your story? So let me know in the comments any thoughts you have on that front, and that's all for now. Toodles.